defense is terrible. The offensive line isn't getting any younger, Skip, and the injuries are starting to happen with greater regularity, and it's keeping them out. Ty Smith used to miss 1 or 2 games. Now he's missing half the season. Then he missed basically the entire season. You see Zach Martin, Skip, these injuries are starting to come. Skip, they got a lot of tread on that body because they've pounded people for a long period of time. This offensive line, especially with Zach Martin and Tyron Smith, they pounded for DeMarco Murray. They pounded for Zeke Elliott, and they're still pounding. So they got a lot of tread. Lyle Collins, Skip, he had hip surgery. I think he had a torn labrum in his hip, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he did.
Man, Skip, you can have a torn labrum, Skip, in your hip and things like that. If you're a normal person walking around, you're fine. But when they ask you to play a professional sport at an extremely high level,
I agree.
That's something entirely different.
I'm with you.
Okay, you bring Dak back. You're uncertain. Okay, is Dak, and we're going to have these same questions again next year, Skip, if he doesn't get a long-term contract. What's Jerry thinking? You think Jerry is he going to franchise him again next year? Is he going to let him test the market? What's going on? Zeke, what are you going to do with Zeke? I just think, Skip, when you look at this in its totality and you look at their defense isn't getting better. Every year, Skip, their defense has gotten progressively worse. And I don't know how like you said, they brought 8 new guys in, they released them all.
All of them.
And even though the ones that they kept is the tried and true, they're not playing well. Jalen Smith, Wolf Hunter, Vander Esch, D-Law, Skip, they're not playing well.
They're regressing.
The secondary isn't very good. The guy that was playing, I mean, he's basically feast or famine, Trayvon Diggs.
Yep, I agree.
He gets you, but you can get him.
You could.
So, Skip, I think they're farther than people realize because you see, man, you look, they got Zeke, they got this, they got that, but Skip, they're ways away. And I don't like to be the bearer of bad news. Oh, that's a lie. I do. I like bearing bad news when it comes to your Cowboy. Y'all are ways away.
So this brought to mind as you were speaking an anecdote I remember from my distant past in baseball. Nobody will know who this guy is, but there was a great old baseball manager for the White Sox and then came to the Rangers where I was covering, named Paul Richards. And I once asked him about a young second baseman who they just called up. How far away is he from being a big league second baseman? And he said, from here to Cairo, Egypt. And right now, it feels like my Cowboys are from here to Cairo, Egypt from being a contending team because I agree, and then some with every point you just made. This has been, for me, as a lifelong Cowboy fan since age 10, the most tormenting and frustrating season I have ever endured as a Cowboy.
Disappointing?
Huh?
Disappointing too?
Well, excruciating. Last night on IG, I listed every one of those: excruciating, nauseating, disgusting. I thought this team could win the East. I picked this team to win the East, and it looked so good on paper going into this COVID-racked season, obviously without any OTAs or preseason games. And now I step back and you realize I have been thrust into a position of rooting against my team to lose out. Because right now, I especially need my team to lose this coming Sunday at Cincinnati because they're in a dead heat with Cincinnati right now for the 3rd pick in the draft. Right now, they're sitting in 4th. But due to a tie, Cincinnati at Philly, remember that? Yeah. They tied. So Cincinnati has a half-game, quote-unquote, lead on us, right? Because of a tie, because they're at 2-9-1.
Yeah.
We need to lose badly to Cincinnati. So I'm hoping Jerry Jones sees fit to start Ben DiNucci at quarterback at Cincinnati.
Basically, the Cowboys are half a game worse than Cleveland. No, Cleveland's a half a game.
You mean Cincinnati?
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
How would it go? Okay, they're in the top spot, so you guys are half a game worse.
Yes, we're a half a game. So we need to lose to them. I don't think we can catch, obviously, the 0-12 Jets or 1-11 Jacksonville. Gardner Minshew wants to come back and play quarterback in place of Mike Glennon, so could they maybe steal a game here or there? But I don't think we can.
I think they got the Ravens. They got the Ravens. They got
Tennessee, at Baltimore, Chicago, and then at Indy the last game.
Yeah, they're not winning another game.
You're probably right, so I'm going to scratch them off. But I would take the 3rd pick in the draft because we desperately need.
So what you want to take? The big lineman out of Oregon?
You could do that, or the defense has 20 things, 20 spots, and only 11 start. But it feels like they need 20 new players on defense because I just don't see any signs of life.
I don't either, Skip.
Seriously, Donovan Wilson was I saw flashes from him as a thumper, and I saw hit and miss flashes from Trevon Diggs, and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
Can he be a Pro Bowl corner? I don't know.
I believe he can.
Maybe.
He's
got that kind of ability because his big brother's got ability. Obviously, Stephon for Buffalo right now. But to your point about the offensive line, I'm looking at Ty Smith is 30 years of age. Well, it feels like he's 40.
It does.
Right? Okay. And Zach Martin is 30, and it feels like he's 35. And Lyle Collins is 28, and that injury was serious business because it cost him the whole he had serious career-threatening hip surgery, the kind that cost Bo Jackson the rest of his career, right? Okay. So what am I supposed to do with that? Brings me to my quarterback. This is a huge issue facing my team because he's going to want $40+ million. And I'm here to tell you, I'm a big fan, but he ain't worth that because he hasn't shown me enough because he's 6-11 in his last 17 starts.
Well, you know you're going to have to give him at least 38 to bring him back.
Okay. All right. And you almost, that's like a done deal.
Right.
Like you got to just close your eyes. He had a pretty serious injury. It's not that he's that mobile to start with, but could it bother him going forward? It could.
So what you going to do with Zeke?
Okay. Well, I'm not finished with Dak yet.
Okay.
He has developed the most dangerous habit of all to me of consistently, hopelessly falling behind, rallying valiantly, only to lose at the buzzer, right?
Yeah.
A lot of empty calories. Tremendous comebacks. They pulled one miracle off against Atlanta, but how many times this year and all through last year did they fall so far behind a Green Bay at home that they just couldn't get back in the game? They shouldn't have gotten back in the Atlanta game. They didn't get back in the Cleveland. They're down to Cleveland 41-14 in the fourth quarter.
And you really truly, Skip, you guys should be neck and neck with the Jets and Jacksonville for that #1 pick. Because you should have lost to the Giants and you should have lost to Atlanta.
Okay.
You should have maybe one win.
Okay. So everybody says, well, advantage Dak and agent. Well, if they say we want $45 million, what's Jerry supposed to do with that? Where are we going with that? What has he proven to be worth $45 million? I don't know. Not enough.
You got a lot of issues, Skip, and it's just not centralized. You got a defensive issue, you got an offensive line issue, but the thing that makes me most happy is that everybody last year came out here week after week. Is Jason Garrett not having them ready to play? When is Mike McCarthy going to have this team ready to play?
I don't know, because I saw no signs of life from Mike McCarthy. And the thing that I thought he did best when he was at his best in Green Bay was call plays. And obviously, Kellen Moore has been very good at that here and there. Seen some really good games at Minnesota. Last night, not so much, because they have the least creative running game I've ever seen. What happened down there when they got 1st and goal at the end? They go Zeke, 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 and they're all just here, here, here.
And they lost
Did they
yards.
Fool anybody? And they went backwards. And then finally, Amari ran a hellacious great route. He just planted and went on Marcus Peters and just made him look pretty silly.
Yes.
Well, Amari's capable of doing that. So what are my strengths? Amari and Gallup and CD. I do have 3 potential 1,000-yard runners, but my running back, he looked a little better last night. I've seen a couple of blips. I've seen it at Minneapolis, at Minnesota, but he has regressed every year in his numbers. They have shown you down, down, down. Is he worth $15 million a year? He is not. So what am I supposed to do with that? You're stuck with that. I'm stuck with a lot of stuff.
I keep telling you, the #1 killer of teams' hopes and players' dreams is expectations. Is that you had expectations for this team? Is that they're the Dallas Cowboys?
I wasn't alone in it.
That's my point. Y'all had these lofty expectations.
Well, y'all are a lot of media people.
Now, guess who didn't?
Well, you just hate them.
No, Skip.
Are you ever going to pick them?
Whoa, Skip. I say you might do 500. Now I didn't think you're gonna be this. Nobody thought Dak was gonna get hurt. But Skip, your defense is even worse than I previously thought they would be. I'm not gonna lie, Skip. I thought they would be bad. Like Skip, they still bad. But I didn't think they'd be this bad. At some point in time, Skip, you was like, you know what? They're not finna just run. Y'all not just Skip. Do you know what it's like? Any defensive player would tell you when someone just lines up and run the ball on you, that is so disrespectful.
Totally agreed.
And it's like, man, y'all just punking us. That's what O said when he said,
agree.
this easy money.
Totally agree. Easy money. It's the end of pride in Dallas. Remember, I grew up rooting for a defense called Doomsday. Do you remember this?
I do remember.
Doomsday defense.
Yep.
Well, now we're just doomed. And after last night, I don't see a way out. And I don't miss Jason Garrett, but I do miss that he was every other year Jason. Because remember, 2014 win the division, 2016 win the division, 2018. And I
2020 was going to be your year.
But now it's Mike. It's the two Mikes. Drop the mic on both of them. And I told you, Mike Nolan is an all-time disaster as a defensive coordinator. And it was a crony hire by Mike McCarthy. You know it and I know it because once upon a time, Mike Nolan, as the head coach of the 49ers, gave Mike McCarthy his first coordinator job, right? I owe you, and now you don't owe this guy anything. I'm sorry. I respect where he's from. I knew his father very well. This is a disaster. You have to cut bait and go in a new direction.
Skip, you remember y'all used to have a defensive line. Y'all had John Dutton and Harvey Martin and Randy White and Too Tall. Y'all used to be good. You remember those days?
Oh, do I? Oh, my God. I mean, how about Bob Lilly? You
Mr. Cowboy.
Mr. Cowboy. Yeah, okay. That's what